Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. For some of you, morning is in the middle of the night, I think, and for some of you, morning is tomorrow, depending on where you live. But for the next 3 days, I'm very happy to welcome you to where I live with many of my Toronto colleagues in this amazing city in Toronto. Yesterday, the weather was lousy. The sports team wasn't so hot. And those from Boston, enough. Okay, we get it. 51 years and counting. For those who have no idea what I'm talking about, speak to somebody who knows what ice hockey is. I'm David Malkin, and it's my pleasure an honor and privilege to be chairing this year's LFS Symposium. This is the largest, by far, number of delegates that we've had. It's a mixture of scientists, students, clinician researchers, psychologists, genetic counselors, and most importantly, family members, patients, and friends of those with Li-Fraumeni syndrome. And this is a unique opportunity to be able to mingle, to learn, to understand each side of the equation. And I think we all hope and expect that by the end of Saturday evening and then a little bit on Sunday for the families, that we will all go away with a renewed optimism that we can do something rational and real for you with respect to this disease. And that's ultimately the goal that we see. Just a couple of words for those who are from out of town, and I know that you all got an email, but just to reassure you, Toronto is a safe city. It is an extremely safe city. The tragedy of a few days ago, just to put it in perspective, was the largest such event. The last one being 20 years ago in Canada, not just in Toronto. These things just don't happen in our country and in our city, but you can rest assured, you are very safe walking around downtown Toronto, because you'll have to do a little bit of walking, and we will welcome you, and everybody does welcome you. Toronto's a diverse city, and this is a diverse audience, and I think there's a nice juxtaposition of those here. So I'm going to start off with a few little sort of logistical remarks, and then it'll be my pleasure to introduce Dr. Ronnie Cohen, who is the Chief of Pediatrics here at the Hospital for Sick Children and Chair of the Department of Pediatrics at the University of Toronto, to welcome you all, and then we'll continue from there. So the facilities. I can't believe I'm starting this off with the facilities, otherwise known as the laboratories, the loo, whatever you want to call it. But basically, for those of you who are on the second floor, and actually the third floor, all the washrooms are down the corridor as you walk out of this room, around the corridor to the left. That will happen even for those who are watching from the auxiliary rooms as well. So some of you are in auxiliary rooms. As the days go on, there'll be some mixing. You can stay there. You can come here. You're seeing and hearing exactly the same thing. Those of you who are in this room, the auditorium at the moment, you might feel you're very privileged and it's wonderful. I should just tell you, you're not allowed to have food or drink. A little water's probably okay, but probably not supposed to say that too loud. But definitely, we really don't like food. So don't feel badly if you're in the auxiliary room, because there you can eat, you can drink, you can put your feet up on the table. I mean, your mother's not there, no one's there, so have a free-for-all. We don't know in the auditorium what's happening out there. They know what's happening here because they can see. But feel free to go to either room. Also, the mobile app, many of you, I think, have already logged on to that. Please do. There's a lot of great information there, and also a lot of communication among delegates and information about the symposium as we go along. As you know, we have 3 exciting and fun social, if you will, events in the evening. So this evening, both at the hotel for families, there's a pub night. I've not been told anything about that, but it sounds fun because there's a pub involved. So for those of you who are doing that, that's great. Also, there are baseball tickets with a team to be unnamed from a city, which we really don't talk about. It's all right. At any rate, for those of you who have ordered tickets, they will be available at lunch at the LFSA desk, so you can pick them up there. You will need to make your way down to the Rogers Center, which is the Dome Stadium. It's about a half-hour walk from here, I would say, if the weather's nice, but there's also any means of transportation, and people will be going in groups and so on. There is a fair bit of security down there, so just give yourself a little time just going through the usual bag check stuff. And you all have to wear blue jays. Also, there's going to be free T-shirts. There's free T-shirts being given out at the game. You know, a freebie. I think it's a Make It Rain Donaldson T-shirts. It's raining. I don't know why they need T-shirts like that, but anyway. And then on tomorrow evening is really the major event, which will be at the Hockey Hall of Fame. It is a unbelievable building. You can wander around. There's exhibits. You can play hockey. You can pretend you're an announcer and call the game. You can be the goalie, the forward, or you can just wander around, talk with your friends, and there'll be food and beverage. And there's also, we have the area where the Stanley Cup, which Toronto hasn't seen for 51 years. So what we do is we actually keep it in Toronto. So we actually have it all year round, and just Boston just gets it whenever they happen to win. We have it the rest of the time, and you can touch the cup. You can actually touch it. Wow. So it's kind of cool. And so that's for tomorrow evening. And there will be shuttle buses from the hotel going back and forth. Again, it's about a 15-minute walk down Yonge Street from here towards the train station. And then on Saturday we have the wrap-up, which is really a dinner. It's at a jazz club, which is about a 10-minute walk from here / the hotel. And it's just a relaxing evening. An amazing jazz group will be there, actually the owner of the club, and there'll be food and dinner and just a time to really relax, talk with each other, and enjoy each other's company. So those are things. Okay, last couple of things. Please wear your lanyards. These things. The building is such that wherever we are here on the first, second, and third floors is open space, so you can get, as you've probably seen already, where you are. You don't have, but one would need passes to get into the rest of the building. This is the research tower for the hospital and across to the hospital itself. So you are kind of confined a little bit here, but there is enough space. But please wear your lanyards. There are security folks around, and they will ask you to see those. I don't quite know what they do if you're not wearing them, but come speak to me anyway. Or if you need another one, or if you lose it, then just go to the desk and we'll get that for you. Then food stations, you'll notice that they're sort of scattered around. Please don't move any of the furniture and chairs and things in the general areas. We've been told by security we have to try to keep passageways and so on free so people can move. And there will be people who actually work in this building actually going through here. And that will be helpful. So just two other pieces. There will be a little bit more formal acknowledgement. I want to acknowledge 7 people here who really have made this meeting happen. Everything that works well is their contribution. Any glitches are on me. So I would just like to acknowledge, and we'll see a little bit more on the next couple of days, Alex, Todd, Debbie, Holly, Arlene, Gaetano, and Anna. I don't know if any of you, aside from Todd, are in the room. Well, Todd and Gaetano down here. Excellent. Debbie is up there. And please, with a round of applause. And Holly didn't raise her hand, but she's over there. Nice try. I would also like to acknowledge one individual who's physically in the room at the moment, the other who will be coming, I think, later in the day. And I think this is a special moment. So we have 2 incredible guests. Dr. Joe Fraumeni will be here this afternoon. He is in town. but he will be attending the rest of the symposium after lunch. And Elaine Sheng, who is Fred Lee's wife, is also here. So thank you. I think it's fair to say that without them, none of us would actually be doing any of this, and so we are indebted, and personally, both Fred and Joe were my mentors, as they were for many of us on the research side, so thanks. So without further ado, there's one last thing. In front of you, you have a lanyard. I'm sitting here, it's a white lanyard. I'm still frazzled about the Leafs. Please put this on your wrist, and you'll hear more about it in due course. So things being the way they are, things don't always work in the way a schedule is written. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Joe and Trish Fralmini. Okay, as people settle back, so it's my great pleasure to introduce Ronnie Cohen, who I introduced you as our Department Pediatrics Chair, as well as Dr. Mike Apcon, who is the President and CEO of the Hospital for Sick Children, to say a few opening remarks. So whichever order you'd like, gentlemen.
Good morning, everybody. It's great seeing so many people here this morning, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to Toronto and to the Hospital for Sick Children, or Sick Kids. It's really terrific to see such a diverse group of physicians and scientists here, and as well as families, all focused on an important disease of childhood, and a disease that has helped elucidate important mechanisms of cancer biology. I can see from your program that this conference brings together experts from the four corners of the globe and represents a diverse set of perspectives covering the spectrum from molecular mechanisms through innovative approaches to diagnosis and treatment, all the way to looking at the psychosocial aspects of living with Leigh-Fraumeni syndrome. The conference itself reflects the spirit and the philosophy that underlies the Sick Kids Research Institute and the planning behind this building, the Peter Gilligan Center for Research and Learning. We designed this building to bring people together with different perspectives and to create public spaces that brought families and the public together with the scientists and clinicians working on a variety of problems. And our ongoing campus redevelopment is designed to metaphorically and physically, in many ways, position our clinicians to directly connect, to be direct connectors between the science happening on the floors above us and the clinical care that's happening just across the street. The nature of this conference, bringing the best together from many institutions in a spirit of collaboration, is also very familiar at Sick Kids, and we're fortunate to work in an environment where collaboration across organizational boundaries is the rule rather than the exception. And that's something that's helped advance care most effectively. In your program, I can also see the collaboration between families, caregivers, and investigators that mirrors our philosophies of family-centered care and patient engagement here at the hospital. We believe that the most innovative ideas and the greatest sense of urgency in addressing important problems comes about when those connections happen, which leaves me pretty inspired by the program agenda for the next few days here. I hope you all enjoy this wonderful city. It really is one of the most livable, vibrant, and multicultural cities in the world, and I think you'll have a lot better weather this weekend than we had a couple weeks ago here. I also hope that you enjoy the opportunity to share each other's expertise and to explore new collaborations that might help us dramatically change the outcomes for this syndrome so that every child thrives. Thanks for being here.
So good morning. Let me first say that a number of people here at Sick Kids are jealous of our president because he's from Boston, and before last night we knew he would be a winner at the end of the night, no matter what the outcome is. So, but that's okay. We are not jealous, really. So I would like to welcome all of you. It's unbelievable to see how many of you are here. So since there were a lot of people who were supposed to make opening remarks, mine will be a bit different. So very few in this audience know me very well, but the ones who do will know that I'm barely ever grumpy or in a bad mood. That was different last summer when I had to retake my 10-year, I had my 10-year anniversary, I had to take my boards again for the American College of Medical Genetics. And as you already heard, weather is an issue in Toronto, and the few nice weekends we had, I had to sit at my house and study for my exam. And my family commented that they hadn't seen me that grumpy in a long time. So I went to the exam being as grumpy as all these weeks ahead of time, sitting in this cubicle trying to answer multiple choice questions. And then the third question was about Lee-Fraumeni syndrome. I'm not making this up, by the way. It's true. And they asked, how would you conduct surveillance for patients with Lee-Fraumeni syndrome? And there was, under B, the answer, the Toronto Protocol. So I will say thank you to David and all of you who have worked and helped to establish this Toronto Protocol, because it put a huge smile on my face and I think it was the energy I needed to get through it. And I did pass in the end. I have to say that throughout my career, I've always had an utmost respect and admiration for oncologists, and specifically pediatric oncologists. The toughest rotation I had during my residency at Hopkins was in pediatric oncology, simply because most of the time the kids you take care of are kids like mine or my family's kids or friends' kids who are normal and then all of a sudden are hit with some tragedy. Over the years, that admiration has grown, and I've added yet something else to this, which is a bit jealousy. Because I think there is no other subspecialty in medicine than oncology that is leading the way by translating technological and scientific advancements into the clinic, whether it's small molecules and the identification of tyrosine kinase inhibitor that changed the outcome for certain patients, more recently immunotherapies that really are revolutionary to some of the most aggressive and rare cancers, but also introducing genome technologies, not just to diagnose patients, but to individualize treatment based on whatever genetic profile you can find. And all of this under the umbrella of what I think is precision medicine. So you have led the way here. And I think the Toronto Protocol is one example of many others where you're also leading the way in what I call precision prevention, that you're trying to look and identify methods to get active before things actually happen. So that's why I'm a bit jealous of you too. But I welcome you all to this wonderful city. You heard a lot about how wonderful the city is. If we didn't have the bad weather, everybody would want to live here. And if you need some advice for good restaurants, I'm a foodie. You can email me. They're the best restaurants in the world in this city. Have fun and welcome.